far as communication, it's honestly like you feel like you're drowning 9 days out of the week, which I'm saying 9 because it feels like that.
You got 9 days packed into a 7-day bag.
It really feels like that.
Welcome to Modern Gov Matters. I'm Sarah Lloyd, and this show is all about honest conversations with local government communicators about what's actually working, what's not, and the stuff that keeps you up at night. Modern Gov Matters is presented by Civol, powered by Social News Desk. Imagine your city grows by 64% in 3 years. New residents flooding in, new roads, new schools, new demands, and it falls to one person to make sure the community stays informed, trusting, and connected through all of it. Today's guest is that person. Bridget Saxton is the communications director for the city of Melissa, Texas, one of the fastest growing cities in the country. And she's going to tell us what that actually looks like. So, Bridget, welcome to Modern Gov Matters.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. As communication directors, we typically are the ones behind the scene, not in front of the camera. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad you put yourself in the hot seat today. We really appreciate it. Before we get into the growth stuff, I want to know who you are first. So you came into government communications from kind of an unexpected place. You were a 911 dispatcher. So how does that background shape the way that you approach your job today?
I remember being little and job shadowing my Aunt Jonna. She was a 911 dispatcher, and I thought, this is the coolest job I think I've ever experienced. And then I had a passion. And then I went into the police academy and became a cop and realized really quickly that wasn't what I wanted to do. It was still behind the scenes, answering the calls, communicating in a way that mattered, being in person without putting my life on the line. I do it daily in different ways, but almost 8 years of 911 dispatching, you learn to triage, you learn to prioritize, and you learn what crisis really means. Communicating through a phone also helps depict what you do on a day-to-day as a comms director or even a social media manager, because you're not in front of anybody. You're communicating through graphics or a video. Even though you're building a two-way conversation, it's very 2D kind of platform.
So now you're the communications director for a city that's growing faster than almost anywhere in the country. And for people who haven't been to Melissa, where is it? And what does the growth actually look like on the ground? What does 64% in 3 years feel like?
Oh, Melissa is just north of McKinney. If you don't know where McKinney is, it's just north of Dallas. So we're just barely north of Dallas, really, if you look at the grand scheme. The growth, it's one of those things where you have to stop and you look back and you go, oh my gosh. In 2023, the comms department was dedicated to having an actual department. I guess actually in 22, they had started having the conversation, and they said, we're going to do it. We're going to do it right. So they not only built the department, but they built in for first a manager. And then they also built in for that first year to hire one extra person. So it was not established as one person. And when I'm relating that to growth, I'm thinking back, because when I got here, I pulled Facebook stats. And in 2022, they made 6 Facebook posts for the entire year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So sometimes, and we always say sometimes less is more, right? Maybe not that much
Maybe
less.
not that little.
We don't like to see 6 in a day. Like that's a lot of communicating in one day. But really, we far surpass that in just a couple of days. So growth as far as communication, it's honestly like you feel like you're drowning 9 days out of the week, which I'm saying 9 because it feels like that.
You got 9 days packed into a 7-day bag.
It really feels like that. But really, you're just like staying in front of that conversation, the transparency, staying ahead of the growth and looking into the future. So you're typically not sitting in the now, you're sitting in the future. So it's as far as like what you do every day or what that growth feels like, I don't really know. I think I'm numb to it, because it's like you move forward you move in the future as you're moving.
Yeah. So you've got two very different audiences at the same time. You have longtime residents who probably remember Melissa before all of this growth, and brand new residents who moved in 6 months ago with none of that history or context. So, how do you talk to both of those audiences at once?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like most of them are excited about the growth. There, you have a very small number of them that still want the farms and the fields, and the trees. We hear that a lot. Well, where are the trees? It's an interesting dynamic because you you look at the growth and you think you certainly did not move to a neighboring city to a metroplex, like a major metroplex, and assume it wasn't going to ever hit there. But I do understand that those two audiences are completely separate. We do a lot of talk and humor. I'm going to use the word because I have a very young staff. My staff is very young, and they've rubbed off on me. So I'm going to apologize ahead of time because I am a middle-aged woman, but I am going to use some words that typically are meant for younger crowd. Our audience here is very feral in a funny way. The more humor that you inject into the post, the better it is. Like, it just lands better. They take it better. We did, what is it, Pepe the Prawn or something? And that one just took off. And then, just trending audio. And I don't know. I think it's just because of our population is the majority of them are younger than me. So they tend to take to any kind of humor in messaging. So it works. It works across the board for us.
So, what platforms tend to work better with that younger audience for you guys?
When I got here in 23, we did not have an Instagram. So I ended up grabbing an Instagram account just to take the namesake. So we secured it. And then when I brought in my second person, she's younger and that's her platform is Instagram. But the majority of our conversation happens on Facebook. And I don't know if I contribute that to age. I think I contribute it more to just longevity of the platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned before our interview today that residents tend to come directly to your Facebook page for both good feedback and bad. So tell me a little bit, what does a tough comment thread look like and how do you handle it?
Every city, town, municipality, they have their town dedicated Facebook page. Like ours, it has a name, whatever that would be for each town. Um, Ours is they're very vocal. And there was a bill that passed that said, a third party can't listen in on those conversations anymore if it's a private group. So we were able to pay attention to that conversation without having to go and dig and, read every comment. So we were able to stay on top of conversations without having to really try and noticing if there was a pattern or if there was something that needed attention. And that went away. So we weren't able to do that anymore. And it took a lot of extra time to dig in and look into those groups and really kind of pay attention to it. So we tasked ourselves with, let's bring the conversation over to us. And at the time in 2023, we had about 5,400 followers on Facebook. And I said, as that listening tool went away, we need to pivot and we need to bring the conversation to us because we don't want to be in this external group answering the conversations. That's just not how we operate. So it was let's start having the hard conversations. Let's start, even if it doesn't feel so great to put it out there or it's controversial or somebody's going to get upset about it. They're going to have opinions. That's what it's for. Transparency isn't always the pretty and the fun. Transparency really takes place when you have to have a hard conversation. You have to say the hard things and you're asking people to have a two-way conversation with you. You're not just speaking at them, you're speaking with them. And when you can build that on your own platform, you now can talk to people in a place where one, they feel safe because they're able to come there, have a conversation with you, and you're responding. So it's not just gubsplaining at that point. You're talking to people. And 9 times out of 10, people want to be heard and they want to know they've been heard. So whether that's just, hey, we hear you, we understand it's frustrating, we're very sorry, here's the process, or hey, this is a great point, come visit a city council meeting. let your voice be heard. So we built it from 5,400 to I think we're just shy of 15,000 now.
Wow, that's
And
amazing.
that's just in a very short 3 years that we've been able to build on that. And it's taken very deliberate practice, and my staff is incredible at answering in a way that doesn't make somebody feel stupid.
I know you mentioned when you got there, you were the only person, and then you added a staff member shortly after that. How much has your staff grown since then?
We're a staff of three, including myself. I have a digital communication manager, and she handles all things digital, which she has a very full plate. And that's Taylor. She's amazing. Everybody needs a Taylor. I mean, everybody does. Sorry, you can't have mine. And then I have Abel, which is our videographer, and he does all things video, photo, even helps us with campaigns because he's a YouTube nerd, and I love that about him. So things have changed since he's been here with Taylor because they can sit and strategize together about what works best on each platform.
I know you've mentioned that, the first 2 positions were built into the budget. Did you have to actually go in and fight for Abel's position, or, did the city kind of
Yeah.
say, "Oh, we get it"?
Well, I think any comms department can understand that when you don't have somebody on staff and you have to complete it anyways, you have to have some kind of professional services budget where you're outsourcing for that. So that built a pretty strong argument already because you see we're already spending this because there is a need for this. And when you're supporting council's priorities and that looks like a video series, you have to be able to produce that video series. And, her and I have not been to school for video production at all. And we're not afraid to say that. So, we went to the experts, and that was money that we were already spending. So to balance that and to say, hey, we're going to bring that conversation in house. We're going to find somebody that has that Melissa heart that can tell that story, that owns the storytelling. And we're helping shape that a little easier and better by having one consistent videographer that just look it. Plus, he loves Melissa. So it really helps out.
Yeah, he just gets it.
Yeah. So yes, I had to battle a little bit, but it wasn't too hard because I already had things in place that help support the need.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, if you could go back to your first week in this role, knowing what you know now, knowing how much Melissa was gonna grow, what would you build first?
I think hmm, I would prioritize building like strategy earlier, social media strategy, communication strategy, like just strategic comm plan, crisis planning. I'm still developing those. They're still in the works. But I think when you have a very solid foundation, you have clear direction for your staff and clear direction for where you're headed as well. So building that foundation and also kind of workflows in place. You don't want to spin your wheels. And also, if you have workflows or even like an automated form, you're also tracking what kind of requests are coming in. So, if you do need to request staff, you have some supporting documents to say, hey, this is how much time our staff is spending on content creation. So, if I'm asking for a graphic designer, I have that documentation for their request.
Yeah. So we've already spent this much time, this much money, this much energy not doing other things. We definitely need someone to support
Yeah,
us here. Yeah.
exactly.
So you mentioned something about the council members and board volunteers who make hard decisions that the public doesn't always see or understand, and how part of your job is helping people understand the full picture. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm super passionate about my council. And we have some boards and commissions that I'm really passionate about as well. Our council just spends so much time and energy, and they have such a big heart for the community because they live here and they want to see it grow in the right way. And it's evident in every time they show up. The time that they take to read a council packet alone, it always amazes me because I've sat as a president on a board before and I know what time that takes. And that was nothing close to the council packets that they get. But with state limitations, things really tightening down at a local level, sometimes your council takes an already complex decision, knowing that they have to make a decision. A builder comes in and they say, I'm building this building and we say, okay, here's the ordinance. Is it going to meet all those requirements? And they go, yeah, it's going to meet all the requirements. Okay, great. It's like a strip mall, right?
Hmm.
Okay, here's our ordinance. You just have to follow those rules. And so they go, they slap it together and it's ready to rock and roll. And it sits there for a little while. And there's separate offices that are going to be rented out. We don't get to say who's going in those offices. I mean, we have some say, not like people think.
Hmm.
So, those are things that people don't realize that we can't say who goes where. If I own a land, I have the right to build on that land. And whether I build apartment complex, so multifamily, or I build townhomes, I'm still going to go through the same process. The council cannot say you can't build multifamily there. I can if I go through the process, and so it gets very sticky. And sometimes council makes those hard decisions based on what they can and can't do. So they're making the best of a bad situation, right?
Yeah.
And so perception is like, oh, well, they're just letting everybody come in here and they're letting anything go. And, our job is to say, hey, that's not exactly the narrative that's true. You're entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts. And that's where we come in and we're like, hey, maybe you didn't know this. I didn't know this. And I tend to sit in the civic mind. So I'm just a normal citizen all days of the week. And I think I wouldn't understand that. If somebody didn't explain that to me, color it out with crayons because I don't understand that. And I mean, sometimes that's all it is. It's just a conversation about, hey, we make hard decisions with the best of what we have.
All right, Bridget, it is time for our lightning round. So just give me the first thing that comes to mind. We have a couple of questions. What's your favorite local spot in Melissa right now?
Probably okay. There's Hope Coffee for coffee.
I feel like
They have an
everyone who comes
amazing
on here is either coffee or a brewery.
so Hope Coffee has a really good brisket taco, like a breakfast brisket taco. So I'm
Right, I
obsessed.
respect that.
Yes. And then we just got this new pizza place called Yonk's, and girl can't get enough. Like, just feed me tacos and tell me I'm pretty all day long. That's gonna be
That is
there.
now the motto of this podcast. Feed me tacos and tell me I'm pretty.
You're so pretty. Here's your taco. I'll be fine. Brisket breakfast tacos or pizza. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is the most underrated thing about Melissa?
Um, Probably the people. And I say that because like Melissa people are, I will give you the shirt off my back. I will pay for your vet bill because your dog got hit. Where are you at? We'll come take you. Like, I just, their hearts are in this town. They have just a community minded, very big giving heart kind of community. And I just love that about this city.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So my last question, if Melissa had a theme song, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. All the way up. No, what is that song?
On Top of the World?
Yeah, that one. Yeah. On top of the world. Yeah. Yes. On top of the world. People are always happy here.
Yeah. And that's perfect for a city that's growing so fast.
Yeah. I mean, they love it here. Like, I mean, like life is just good for them. So, the ones that are unhappy with growth and want the farmland, they're like, you know what? That's okay. We're moving, and that's okay. I mean, it is a growing city and there's no stopping that growth. It's coming whether we like it or not.
So, Bridget, this was such a good conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. It sounds like you guys are more ready for the growth than a lot of cities would be, and I really appreciate you being so honest about all of that. And if people want to follow what Melissa is up to or connect with you, where should they go?
Oh my gosh, go to our Facebook, Melissa Texas Gov. And then we have City of Melissa on Instagram as well.
All right. I look forward to checking out your feral audience.
They are. Just be ready.
All right. Thank you so much. Modern Gov Matters is presented by Civol, powered by Social News Desk. If you found this episode helpful or interesting, please share it. And for more episodes, visit moderngovmatters.com. I'm Sarah Lloyd, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.